you've been here a while, you know my whole thing is foundation first, the right things in the right order. But nobody prepares you for this. When you hit your 40s, your skin suddenly changes. The routine that carried you through your 30s stops pulling its weight. It sometimes can actually be really jarring, or it can quietly happen over time. I know it because I lived it, and I'll be honest, I was hesitant to make a switch. I'm loyal, I'm selective, and the science behind a skincare brand has to convince me first. And that's exactly what Young Goose did. Once I understood it, I couldn't unsee it. And that's what I want to do for you today. My guests are the brilliant minds behind Young Goose, Amitai Eshel and Anastasia Khojaiba. It's a brand I personally use for the last few years, and they are also a member invited inside the Well Drop Network. 3 key takeaways I want you to get from this episode that is a must listen if you are 40 plus. Number 1, your skin isn't just losing moisture, it's losing energy. Aging skin is a cellular energy problem, and most products, they may chase the stimulus, but Young Goose supports the signal underneath it so that the stimulus can actually work for you, not against you. Number 2, more is not better, but better is better. A few right products in the right order daily, that ritual is the real foundation. Before lasers, before Botox, and before fillers. And number 3, you'll learn to read a label like an insider. Words like longevity, clean, natural, these are all the marketing buzzwords right now, but they don't always mean what you think, and the green flags that are worth your money. So let's drop in. So, big picture, when it comes to skincare, what is like the biggest shift most consumers haven't caught on yet with? Like, what are you guys seeing? Like, you guys are the experts in
Yeah.
this space.
I think, if you don't mind, I'll start. I think most consumers still didn't catch up to the understanding that your skin health is directly related to your repair capacity. And that really slows down as you pile up treatments, as you age, as you experiment and start trying all the different trends. And it's kind of like stems from also understanding what is a signal for your skin and what is a repair. So signal is the signal and also stimulus. Like your skin gets stimulated even by a flight that you take,
Yeah.
and not a lot of people think about that.
Even by a fly.
Uh, your
By landing on the skin.
your skin your skin can get stimulated by stress. Having to tolerate some jokes sometimes, can be stressful.
Just
Scary. I feel like
creating wrinkles on it.
I always think of it from like a food standpoint, like your
Yeah,
external represents what's happening internal.
for sure, for sure. So, that really sugary drink or
Yeah.
food that you ate, that set off all this AGE creation, that's a stimulus. So, everything can be a stimulus. That chemical peel you did is a stimulus. That even red light therapy can be a stimulus. Anything really, like your retinol can be a stimulus.
Yeah.
And on its own, it's not that's always bad. It's just the way it is. What's bad is when your skin doesn't have the repair capacity to bounce back and adapt and navigate all of that. And I think that's really um, kind of this understanding and this narrative is what we brought to the market, with really looking at what your skin needs, what molecules it needs, what environment it needs to really perform optimally. And we can get a lot deeper, but
To give the signal. Yeah, I think that you guys also really helped to educate me. I mean, we met obviously from like the biohacking space, but you definitely stopped me in my tracks when I first saw you biohacking skincare. And I didn't even think about it in that way until I met you. And I think that, and correct me if I'm wrong, like one of your first products that are now has been reformulated to be even better than it already was infusing some NAD in it. And I'd love to like talk about sort of what was like the inspiration behind your like kind of like early products, and then kind of go into, because you guys to me are innovators in adding these like really interesting signals, I suppose, right? To help, from like maybe it's a mitochondrial level to help with the stimulus that people are doing, right? Because I think everyone now is used to giving the stimulus, But when you
Uh-huh.
go and think of things from like root cause, which is what you're doing, you're thinking of like, well, is this signal able to respond to the stimulus? And you're helping to optimize with the signals so that the stimulus can actually work.
Yeah.
Correct.
First of all, I think the industry, the skincare industry, is actually incredible to look at in isolation, as far as seeing how a product that you need to purchase on a regular basis, how it adjusts to the current zeitgeist. Like how does it adjust its language to fit whatever the consumer is being brainwashed that is good at the moment,
Yeah.
and like providing it to them. I mean, peptides are all the rage now. Peptides were all the rage in skincare 10, 15 years ago. Um, and the entire playbook of like, how do you sell peptides? Because every, we have friends who has flown to China right now to buy peptides to start a peptide company. So like all of those, kind of playbooks on how do you sell it to the end consumer, how do you differentiate yourself, how do you tell a better story. These are lessons that companies learned 15 years ago trying to sell peptides, right? In skincare. And the same thing is happening right now as far as like language that the big empires of skincare are pivoting right now, whether
Yeah.
it's the word whether it's longevity or
Longevity.
Yeah.
pro aging,
Cellular level. Everything is cellular.
self care, resilience, barrier, slow, minimalism, whatever that is. It's it the goal of that, one of the empires of skincare isn't to pivot. It is how do I adjust my language to make
The
sure that the
marketing machine.
the investments that I've made, that I'm still recuperating. Like let's shout out like a good brand. Congratulations to Rode. They just sold for $1 billion, right? How long do you think it takes to recoup $1 billion investment, or to 10x $1 billion investment, which is what a company wants to do?
Right.
It takes a long time. So if the conversation changes tomorrow, you cannot just say, "Oh, never mind the $1 billion that I paid for this brand." No, no, no. You're going to change the language around the brand to fit
Mhm.
whatever's going on right now. So that's what we're seeing, especially with what's funny with the word longevity, which is kind of sup- like really changing. The meaning is changing in real time to basically mean whatever anti-aging meant a second ago. And the funny thing about longevity is that it basically is being pivoted to mean longevity practices that you've done for 10 years to make you look now your best, right? Like it's still about making you look your best right now. And there is a real problem with that. And that's what Anastasia alluded to before, is as a consumer, we're also judged, but also are indoctrinated to judge products and processes as far as how do I feel directly after them, how does the product feel.
Want like immediate results. I mean, that's the American way. We
But
think that
not
there's
even, but even like
pill,
even like
this thing's
even
gonna
by intuition.
transform us overnight.
I think even by intuition, and I think skincare doesn't work like that. Like intuitively, I love a Big Mac. Like intuitively, a Big Mac feels great. But a Big Mac done consistently over, Morgan Spurlock in his book, in his movie Super Size Me, showed
Yes.
you where it gets, intuition, micro decisions like longevity micro decisions are really bad at conforming to intuition. They're a lot of the times they're counterintuitive. So us as a brand, which our credo is, we're gonna make sure that if you're deciding to invest in our brand day in, day out, you're gonna have the best skin of your life for the rest of your life. Um, it requires a much deeper understanding on your on the way you judge products, on the way you commit to using a product day in, day out.
Here's something I know about you. You are not short on information and you know a lot. Yet, you're still not feeling the way you want to. This is not a you problem, that's a foundation problem. And here's the reality: there has never been a clear roadmap for this chapter until now. I built the well drop because I was tired of piecing it together too. I was tired of information that doesn't connect the dots, protocols that were never built for this body at this stage in this season of life. So I built the roadmap. Every Sunday, one drop lands in your inbox, one habit, one clear upgrade, just for where you are right now. No noise, no overwhelm, just what actually moves the needle. You don't need more information. You need to build a wellness lifestyle for midlife. That's it. Subscribe at thewelldrop.com or click the link in the show notes right now before this becomes something you want to do, but you forget. I'll see you inside. Yeah, like how
Uh,
should a consumer, I think that's like a perfect segue into, there's so much noise out there, and the Well Job's mission is to help sift through the wellness noise. Like, how can a consumer decipher great A++ marketing with a monster budget? That's what's getting on our
Mhm.
phones 24/7 versus like a product that actually is going to move the needle. Like, what are
Yeah.
maybe like, is it some like buzzwords? Like, what is like the deeper dive that a person, because I always say to people, like, we need to become a little bit more curious. And before you just click buy, 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 I love that we
Mhm.
are consumers, but like, you want to actually like purchase something that's going to make a difference. Like, that's the goal. So, how can like a
Mhm.
consumer who is not a skincare expert, come
Yeah. I
across and say, okay, I should look for like these few things. And then I know like this is worthy of my time.
yeah. I mean, I will start by saying, kind of also a little bit reference in your previous question. You were like, "Oh, your original care product just got reformulated," and which is true. And we did it not because the original formula stopped working or stopped selling. It's in homes around the world doing its job, and people love it. And we never had to reformulate it, but the science have evolved, and now we can offer a better product, and so we did. And that's something that we have been doing consistently. Like a lot of our products that we put out, we reformulated because better science came along, better molecules came available, better tech came available. And even like the NAD boosters that we brought into skincare market as the original company that had NAD plus boosting, uh, as a main thesis. We now have a third generation of NAD boosters. We have a proprietary complex, and I think these are some of the examples of what you should look in a brand that is really looking to deliver you the best and the most innovative and the latest. Of course, accompanied by user trials, data, and honestly, also community. I think all of this together makes that package that you can trust more than just a really famous influencer posing with the product, saying
I
that it's
definitely
a
paid the influencer. If you
well.
influencers,
Well,
they
there
could be
was another
good for
influencer
product.
who just
They're amazing.
launched just the
Well,
other week and did unbelievable. But like, is her products going to move the needle? Curious.
I missed the name. Who
Oh,
launched?
Alex Earl.
Oh,
Yeah,
yes, yes, yes.
I want to double
Yeah.
click it on something that Anastasia said,
Mhm.
because my answer would have been, before what she said was like, I don't know. Um, because so one thing that so it's important to understand that this is how we view things internally. But I think whatever answer we would give with enough money, you could be sold the same thing that we're doing in house, intentionally, and with a pure heart, I guess, to be a little
Mhm.
Yeah,
Disney,
the
to
heart
be a little
matters.
Disney here.
Mhm.
Um, but you could fake everything. That's the truth. I don't. My answer is still, Young Goose really is it's an expensive product line. It's not overly expensive. It's not like a $600 per ingredient per product, but it's a product line that we understand when we make products. It might not be possible for each and every single one to afford each and every one of our products. And since we do view ourselves as like the best option, a lot of the times in internal conversation, we're like, hey, we don't want We don't. If people can't afford all of our products, we don't want them to only use our products. We prefer to give counsel, to give advice as to what other products they use. To the extent that we used to like sell a product on our website that wasn't even ours because we believed that it was a really good product and that we didn't have a solution that was comparable.
Yeah, SIV. If
SIV,
anyone's
yeah,
curious.
SIV, which is
Which is a great acne product, and we don't specialize in acne.
exactly. But so this is something we talk about internally. How do we give someone tools? Once we've talked about red light therapy, and I said, hey, just flip it around, see if it has vents. That's like a really easy tool to know if red light therapy is strong enough for you to use it, right? We really are struggling to find tools like that for companies because red light therapy is extremely easy. There are like 3 manufacturers in China. They give you good, better, best. You buy one of their panels or masks for that matter, and boom, you have a product.
Yeah.
In skincare, we know influencers who you mentioned Alex Earl, which is a part of an incubator. Like Alex Earl's products are part of an incubator. They really know what they're doing, both as far as like the by the way, like a branding incubator. But they know what they're doing from a branding standpoint. But we see many influencers that we know that just launch random products. And they don't know, right? They don't even
Well, it's
know.
cheap marketing. That's
They
like
could
the
have,
point.
but they could have good intentions. They have no idea how to discern between the provide people who would provide them the service of formulation even,
Mhm.
And the truth of the matter is, if I had to distill it to a very say like a catchphrase, it would be, protocols trump mechanisms and mechanisms trump molecules, right? Like I want a company to be able to tell a story that doesn't boil down to one molecule.
Yeah. I was going
I
to
want it
say,
to be there's no panacea.
like,
There's no, go ahead.
no, I was going to say, I'm almost like wondering that if we hear the word for right now, longevity, and someone's getting that marketed to them, should that give them a moment to just take a pause?
I think longevity is
And then
like,
to look a deeper layer and then see, are they maybe discussing protocols? Are they discussing the science? Like, are they digging in a little further than to know, like, oh, this is more legit versus marketing? Because it's very hard as like an average consumer to figure out what should I go with. I mean, that is the purpose of the well job method, that we are sifting through the noise for them, and it's landed here, and you guys are part of the network, and that's why you are in the network, so we can shine a light on amazing products like yours, because I personally use them. But for someone who is just finding you in the abyss of the internet, right, to help you stand out over someone that's doing a great big marketing push for longevity.
I will say longevity is now being used almost interchangeable with the word that used to be used clean, and then it used to be vegan.
Yeah.
So like if you go to Nordstrom,
Natural.
or natural, yes. If you go to
Really?
You remember
Nordstrom
natural?
and you walk around in the skincare counters, and I've done that because I like to look at the packaging, I like to see
Yeah.
what's out there in the retailers. And I use Nordstrom, but it can be any department store. We actually sold in Nordstrom online, so it's not against Nordstrom. But
Shout out to Nordstrom.
but when you walk around beauty counters, and that's what I noticed. Like I would just ask, "Oh, what is this brand? Where is it from? Like, what are they known for?" And like there was this one sales associate, and she shadowed me all throughout the store. And every counter I stopped, she told me, "Oh, they're clean. They're clean. They're clean." None of them were
Clean.
clean, but the word "clean" was meaningless to her. It was just a marketing term. Like it
Yeah.
was on me to actually, like, I don't know, use a Yuka app and scan
Yeah.
and see, like, oh, it's a negative. It's in the red. It's like, I don't know, 20 out of 100 score. It's not clean. And before that, it used to be vegan. And I remember like people were just like, it's vegan, it's vegan. And I'm like, it's skincare. Like 99% of the time, it is vegan. And now it's being used longevity. So you really can't trust the word longevity, because even like products that have perfume or artificial coloring, like something that is like so far from health and optimizing health and longevity, I mean, just use the word longevity. It's not a word you can restrict. It's just a word.
Yeah.
So that
No, I
is
think that's
one of the
helpful.
things.
I think that's actually super helpful for people who are
There
out
is a
there. So,
term we use internally. You
Mhm.
can use it. It's yours from now on. It's called well washing.
yeah, greenwashing, well washing. I
Well
like that.
washing,
I say
right? It's like
greenwashing all the time.
it's so everyone's trying exactly. Everyone's trying to, at the end of the day, skincare is wellness at its base. Like any
Yes.
product, even the most toxic product that you may find toxic. If you ask the chemist who made it, their thesis that you might agree with and might not is that at the end of the day, it improves the skin wellness. By the way, I think aloe's skincare,
Yep.
which is definitely not clean, they're calling it skin
We
wellness.
are.
And by the way,
Yes.
yeah, yeah. So that's the whole story there. And I think at the end of the day, what we need to do is to make sure that the product is looking us straight in the eyes, no pun intended, and is telling us that this is a product for the long term. Skincare is a long game. Okay.
Mhm.
Any product that is trying to communicate results through a 28 window purview, unless there's like a asterisk saying, hey, this is for you to see what happens in 28 days, but our plan is for you to use it for 5 years before you understand how good the product is. I think that brand is doing you a disservice. It might be the best product in the world, but you're not getting the full service there.
And how long would you
Yeah.
say, like I always tell people, because I started with your care, moisturizer. It actually took a lot for me to even like switch. I was a Biologique girl. And then
Yeah.
when we met, I was like,
I
okay,
That's
remember meeting you. I don't know if you
remember?
remember, but I remember in LA how you were like approached and we talked, and you had your whole routine set up, and you're like,
Yeah.
"Let me give it a try." But you asked a lot of questions, and they were all very thoughtful, and it's like stuck in my memory.
Yeah. And I was like, all
shout
right,
out to one of the superstars. Great
I'm
company.
gonna do it. But like how long when using the product, because I'll tell you what I tell people based upon my experience, but should somebody, to your point, give something time until they start to actually see the results start to
Yeah.
compound?
So it's a very common question, and there is an answer that you know I'm used to give. So first of all, if you're tuned in with your body, you can see if the product works for you or it doesn't within weeks. You can just see like how it feels on your skin, if your skin is reacting to it
Like
in a good way, in a bad way. Like there is that, and we are very bio individual here at Young Goose, all of the products that we have, we use the maximum, clinically proven dose of ingredients. The ingredients that we use, they're very high standards. They're pharmacological grade. So if somebody until now is using aloe vera, it might be a shock to.
Shout out to our neighbor.
Yes, she might be
you
listening to
haven't
the
you
podcast.
haven't influenced them
Um,
yet?
we have a neighbor that chases us with packets of paper, so we put aloe vera in our products. That's a different story.
Yes,
So
but
funny.
yeah, going. So sometimes it can be an adjustment for somebody who is not used to use impactful, molecules. But for most people, they can usually like already within weeks to say, wow, I can feel that my skin is softer. I can see the glow about my skin. They see that there is something happening, but yes, maybe the dark spot didn't fade yet, and maybe the deep lines did not
It-
didn't soften yet. And then clinically, what we're finding out clinically, that it's usually like 8 weeks and up, like usually 12 weeks, that you can see clinical results. Like you actually see before and afters, with the, let's say, AI analysis, or the more common dermatological tools that they use to measure the depth of wrinkles, the softening of pigmentation. So you do need a few months, like your cell cycle
Yeah.
is about 30 days, and as you grow older, it's actually longer. So you need more time to be consistent. And I really love what you did, and I don't know if you shared about it on your podcast, that you did like a year comparison. Was it a year or 2 years?
It was a 2-year comparison.
Yeah,
I
and
could do
that
it.
is very smart.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
my age reversed. So um,
biological age. Yeah,
that was
that's
like really
actually
exciting to
now
see.
something that we offer. We like our partners in clinics offer that. They're doing the testing of before using our products, biological age testing, and all of the different markers. And we even developed a dry blood spot test that shows you the biomarkers, and then you can see also how they improve as you progress using your protocol. Again, going back to protocol thinking. And so we're very much into testing, but you're right. With testing, you need time. Just like if you had the blood work done, you cannot. It doesn't make sense to go retest in a month. It's usually at least 3 months, most commonly 6 months, to see if if
It's
the
also
levels
expensive.
have changed. Yeah, testing is
Yeah.
expensive.
Yeah.
And I love that you guys, I think that it like shows how you stand behind your product. Like one, not only that I proved it to you guys, you're like, oh my God, it's amazing. I was like, wow, like I was like so impressed with the results because I love data. So like for me, it's my own midlife experiment. But I do think it's a great point that you make that like you have to give it the time. And I say that to people too. Like I'm always like, use it for a minimum. Like you need to at least 3 months, give it 6. And like people will just start like for me, I noticed once people start being like, what are you doing? Something looks a little different.
Yeah,
And then you're like, oh, I guess it's working. And like you
yeah.
Well,
sometimes need that proof. And I think oftentimes like
Mhm.
skincare is like the gateway for people for their wellness. And a lot of times
Absolutely.
I think you never notice any changes, but definitely I love the protocol mindset because I think when someone, and you guys are the formulators of it, when you're actually putting these things together and you're thinking of it as a protocol mindset so that they will synergistically work together, that's
Mhm.
how a person's going to get the results that they want versus just like the one-off items. And I am not even a purist. Like you guys are definitely like my morning routine.
Mhm.
Um, and I think it's okay to also like switch things in time, but to initially even
yes.
give
Sure.
something time and stay committed to it, and
Mhm.
consistency to me is
Yeah.
everything.
I don't
Um,
know how you can tell someone not to switch things up if you are at the end of the day want to get into the routine, right? Like most people, they don't
yeah,
have.
you got to get into the habit,
Yeah,
get into
Mhm.
flow.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
And every chapter, I just say, if anything, you switch it up by the chapters. Like for me, I talk about like the midlife upgrade. So when we met, I mean, I probably was just maybe turning 40. I don't even know. I'm turning 46 now. Like I was sort of in that phase knowing my skin was going to be changing. I kind of like did it before it happened instead of being reactionary, but most people they do. I mean, I hear the comments all the time. They notice their skin is starting to change in their early
Mhm.
Yeah,
40s. What is happening? And until it happens to you, kind of like don't believe it's going to happen. Like, whatever, it's not going to
Mhm.
happen. And then it does. And it's like the alarm bells go off, like, Wah! And so I think every chapter, it's like for me, I discovered you guys in my midlife, but like maybe my early 30s, maybe the products I would have chosen from your line would have been a little bit different. So
Mhm.
it's
yeah,
constantly like evolving per chapter, I think is great. Like creating
Yeah.
that protocol.
And we have always been creating for mature skin. So understanding perimenopausal skin, menopausal skin was always at the center of our formulations because we we really think about all the processes that happen in the skin and how can we reverse some of the processes to make the skin function younger. And that phrase, functionally younger skin, was something that we have been saying since 2020. Now it's been picked up, and we hear other brands use it. But
you do.
yeah, that is the essence of Young Goose. We brought NAD plus precursors to the market because one of the most prominent hallmarks of aging is NAD plus decline and decline of cellular energy. And if you don't have enough cellular energy for repair and for just the daily processes, of course, the accumulated damage will show up as all of the signs of aging we all fear and know very well, and trying to counteract. And then it's never just one thing in isolation. Like Amitai said, it's not NAD plus precursors alone is not a panacea, and we never took it in isolation. We were like, okay, the whole thing is happening in mitochondria. Let's look at mitochondria. And now mitochondria is on the tip of the tongue of everyone. It's
The word
had
of
a huge
26.
moment. Mitochondria is like mainstream now.
Did you know I saw two people? I wrote a Substack article called Mitochondria Maxing,
Yeah,
a la,
like that.
a la looks maxing, And I saw now two other people had Instagram posts with mitochondria maxing.
Wow.
Like, oh my God,
Yeah,
this,
it's very
this world is
catchy.
moving fast.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thing,
And
yeah.
and we were like one of the first brands to look in optimizing your mitochondria, using ingredients in the original formula of care. We had PQQ, we had coenzyme Q10. We were looking to support this process in mitochondria, and, using peptides and other things, to really make the product to be essentially a supplement, a skin supplement, like addressing skin health, from within, like in the most pure way of this expression.
I think you just found your new term, skin supplement. Move
Yeah.
over, function
One
younger
can use
skin,
it before.
skin supplement by youngers. Because people
Listen,
think that's internal, but you are doing like external. That's fully what it is. Because the ingredients that you're choosing, I think most people, to most, it's just going to be like, I don't even know what any of this means, right? They have no idea. But if they actually just like took a second to look up what is it and what does it do, it's like pretty mind blowing, like how strong and powerful and like beneficial it is to someone's body, especially your
What-
skin is your largest organ.
Well, in the very early days of the brand, we did struggle finding our customer, and it wasn't like smooth selling for us from the beginning because of exactly what you're saying. People didn't understand what is it, because we didn't say hyaluronic acid, and we didn't say vitamin C, and we didn't say glycolic acid or whatever else people were familiar with.
Yeah.
And then we found our community of biohackers, and the biohackers were like, you have resveratrol and you have NAD plus precursors? Are you kidding me? Like, I was waiting for you. Like, how I didn't find you sooner. And for 3 years, we had word of mouth marketing with zero marketing budget. Speaking of like community versus marketing, it was all community driven, and we're super grateful. And one of the feedback that we received this year from the biohacking conference by our staff that have been traveling with us for years to those type of events is that this is the first year where they felt like actually what we do is mainstream now. Like, people are so much more educated, because before we used to, like, in any interaction with any customer, we had to spend like 15 minutes explaining what is NAD plus and what is
I was shocked to see
mitochondria.
NAD, like, because I think kind of what stopped me is like NAD in skincare, because I kind of ignored NAD at first because I was not a person who believed in injections.
Yeah.
So just like that was like too strong. Like, I love to come of like a simple way of like, how do you crawl, walk, run? And I was like, oh, skincare. Okay, now I can I believed in what NAD does and how it declines, and we're not taught about it. I always like to talk about the things we're never warned about. Like, no one knew that your NAD really declines unless you sort of were in that biohacker kind of community. But bringing that to skincare, like, it just made a lot of sense. And then now, I guess what I love to like go into is sort of, because perimenopause skincare is like one of the fastest growing things women are searching for. And I'm like excited, but also nervous for like women in skincare, because like now that wellness is like officially here, like it's just going to explode. But with hormone, because you started in that space, and like with the hormone shifts that happen in your 40s, I also like to, I would say, the things I warned my younger sister. She's 11 years younger than me, of like, why does like your
Oh my God,
30s?
my sister is almost also like she's like 10 years and like all like 9 months younger than almost all 11.
I love that. Yeah. So I'm always like telling her the things of like, okay, so this is what you do now. And then you're going
Her
to change.
sister doesn't listen.
My sister, well, she's in her, like, I'm 36, she's 25 right now, so She's
Right.
in a
So even
different
like the
dimension.
conversation you would have with her, but like, why does your 30s skincare routine start to stop working? Like you did mention our NAD declined. And talk about maybe some of the other things that you've now included, even
Mhm,
talk about like the upgrade of like the care
So
moisturizer, like
mhm.
what were some amplifiers that you added in there to kind of like help boost things a little bit more?
so the skincare doesn't stop working. Again, because that's how we started this discussion. It's about signals, right?
Mhm.
Skincare as a whole, as a paradigm, or even if you zoom out, every treatment, every facial you're getting, every actually that's kind of led from that. If you think of a facial, it's like you know, if you're consistent, you expect to do it every like once every month, right? You can't support micro processes. You can't support like you can't support high levels of an ingredient by using it
Once.
by using it once a month. I mean,
Yeah.
that was the big hurdle we had in red light therapy, introducing it to the American market in 2012, 2015, where we were going to professionals, and professionals were like, okay, I need a product that I can have shine on a patient, on a client once a month. And we were like, to be honest, you need to do it 3 times a week. There's a very, again, skin health should be a daily thing, right? So the only thing the less you do it, the stronger the signal needs to be. So the entire industry is built on, you know, more and more hard signals. Okay, so the skincare doesn't stop working. As you age, you're becoming more energy depleted. We talked about energy. We talked about your mitochondria, but really, your skin is your body is experiencing an energy crisis. That is a big part of why there is hormonal change to begin with. Is energy crisis in your
Cellular
endocrine
level, the
system, in your
function.
brain, in the HPA axis, etc. There is an energy crisis, and your skin is a highly, highly, highly energy demanding uh, organ. The top layers of our skin, as Anastasia alluded to, they renew every 4 to 6 weeks. Depends on your age. Imagine your partner wanted to remodel the house every 4 to 6 weeks.
Yeah.
How would your budget look like? I mean, how would your bank account look like? Your energy is your bank account, right? So when we get to an age where there is higher demand, the body is going through a change, which that energy demand just is prioritized something else. That's what you're seeing in the mirror. What you're seeing in the mirror is that your bank account, your skin's bank account is broke.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You're broke.
But I think
And
that most people can kind of get away with it sometimes in their early 30s, and then all of a
that's
sudden
exactly the point.
it
Mhm,
starts
mhm.
to
That's
shift.
exactly the point. When you are experiencing a drastic change in your skin health, that is not actually changing your skin at all. It has nothing to do with your skin.
Mhm.
It has, or skin care for sure. It's a change. There is a hormonal change which your body prioritizes the other systems that it needs to survive, and diverts a lot of the support that your skin is used to getting. So things that worked before. I mean, there is a unspoken discussion, but every dermatologist knows that the tretinoin that they prescribe to a 38-year-old or a 35-year-old has a very, very high chance to be too strong when they go through perimenopause. You're nodding your head because that's very obvious to you. But anyone who
Yeah,
hasn't gone
you
through that,
fight with doctors on this all the time.
exactly, exactly.
I'm taking a quick moment to share something with you because the number one question I get asked is, where do I even start? Lucky for you, you don't have to figure that out because I already did the work for you and I've built it over the last 10 years. It's called the Well Drop Blueprint. No prep, no planning, just open your email every morning for 14 days and get one habit, one clear upgrade that tells you exactly what to do that day. That's it. Here's your permission slip. It's never too early, and it's also never too late to start. The women doing this right now range from their early 30s to their 80s because building a solid wellness foundation works at every age. And the sooner you start, the faster you will feel the difference. The reality is, women are doing great things, but off a rocky foundation. The blueprint is your starting point. It's simple, it's clear, and delivered to your inbox. Go to thewelldrop.com right now, or click the link in your show notes, open tomorrow's email. It's your starting point to building a wellness foundation that helps make everything else you do work better. Upgrade your wellness right now. I don't think at this stage we also want to extra thin our skin. I think I'd love to hear your thoughts on I think people have forgotten to take care of our skin, especially coming from the dermatologist, because lasers became such a thing. It became a laser focus, not a skincare focus. It's like we
Yeah.
shifted our priorities. Would you agree with that?
That's the same thing we said about the further you go from daily care, you're just getting things that could really communicate a very destructive message.
Yeah.
Which, as we grow older, very difficult to address.
I think when it comes to seeking advice from dermatologists, you should really do your research and find integrative dermatologists. And we've attended conference where it was integrative dermatologists, and the lectures that they were, receiving, it was very thoughtful. It was talk, if you have an acne patient, do you talk to them about their what they eat? Did you consider offering them probiotics first, yada, 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 red light therapy and etc. But the majority of dermatologists, they were never trained in skin care, skin health. They were trained in disease. So they're like, if you have, God forbid, skin cancer, that's the person you go to and they will, treat you for it. But to improve the quality of your skin care and ritual, that's not what they trained. They trained in Botox, fillers, lasers,
everything is like that. And I think what I'm taking away even from this conversation is that true skincare is the daily ritual. As I always say, making the basic boring, the boring basics sexy again. That is the products you're putting on your skin. It's the same thing I talk about with our wellness habits, which this falls into that category. That's setting a solid foundation for you to work from. And then those other things, if you're doing your Botox and your laser and your fillers, those are the amplifiers, but those cannot be your foundation, because then you're not at those results that you're really aiming for.
And again, going back to traditional dermatological offices, I shadowed the dermatologist for 2 years back in my pre-med years, and they're booked to the brim. They have 5 appointments for the same hour, and the things that I've seen, 99% of the times, were skin cancers, cysts, allergies, really skin conditions. And then once in a blue moon, there would be people coming for Botox and fillers, and it's just not the person that's dealing with wellness and longevity usually, again, unless you find an integrative dermatologist. We work with a great derm, Erica Klemper in California. We met her at the integrative dermatologist conference, and I know for a fact that she structures her practice and her regimen differently. And there might be a lot of wonderful dermatologists listening to this podcast right now that are also worth the praise. But the patients need to know to look for one, and they need to have the initial consult and see the questions that the person is asking. If they're actually give them time and dive into their routine and life and ask thoughtful wellness.
I don't know where you're going. That doesn't exist, really. But who knew about integrative dermatology? That's what
sorry to interrupt. I just will finish my thought. What I was leading up to is that a lot of the times you're better off treating your skin with a functional medicine doctor versus dermatologist if you're looking for practices that will improve your skin longevity. That was my thought process.
I think, by the way, also functional medicine doctors, the ones that we meet that deal with aesthetics, at the end of the day, they need to appease their customers, their patients. and they are still looking for ways to circumvent plastic surgery. Like 99.9% of the time, the best meaning aesthetics practice providers, there's still a demand on them to help avoid plastic surgery. And this is, we can get to it, it's a different discussion, but this is never a good discussion. That's number one. Number two, I've been talking to a lot of derms recently because yes, there is interest from the field.
That's good.
99, but that's not really good because
No.
that's a big
That's
VC.
exciting. Your products.
So I don't know if you know, 33% of dermatology is owned by venture capital and
Yep.
large corporations, and these are actually ones that are very interested in innovation, right? But the doctors themselves aren't really interested in innovation. They're really innovation averse. And that's partially because of what Anastasia talked about. The same reasons are the reasons that they can't really have hours and hours to really learn and study the advancements in longevity. And the third is, and we see it in many different areas of medicine, where an allopathic physician has way more to lose by adopting innovation than they do by being innovation skeptic, right?
Yeah.
Looking stupid as a provider is way worse than looking skeptical. Way worse. Or like a kook, by the way, stupid or like a kook.
Very
That's the worst.
interesting. Yeah, I like this. I never thought about it from that lens by being a skeptic. That's why they're always so skeptical over just admitting. I would say, like, why can't the doctors just admit, I don't know? Like, if they would
Well,
just say, I don't know, and maybe tell you someone who might know better, but no one's doing that. They're always skeptical, but maybe
there
that's
is no, there, if you've ever talked to anyone that got a cancer diagnosis, the doctor is always, or I haven't been with everyone, but as a rule, doctors are pessimistic.
Yeah.
It's because it's way better to look like a genius, the genius who saved a terminal person, than the person that promised a guy that they're going to live, and then they didn't manage to keep this person alive. And first principles in medicine, a lot of the time you start in cancer and then you go somewhere else. But that is just the approach of allopathic medicine, which we need, which we love, which we appreciate. And of course, we're going to work with every derm or any provider that would want to work with us. That goes without saying. And I believe they do rightfully so have a lot of power to change paradigms in health. But since, again, every doctor that you see on Instagram recommending a specific brand of red light therapy, every doctor, 100% of them, I've met them when they said it's snake oil. 100% of them. So we're just,
but I think people don't realize
it's just again, and so our ability as a company to admit that, to say, hey, we're going uphill here, and we need to make sure that the decisions we're making are decisions that are going to improve the skin and the life and the wellness and the wellness of the customer. That's what we need to do as
your mission
as a company. Yeah.
Talk to me about I was surprised to see creatine and methylene blue in the products. I never would have thought that could be on skincare. How did that come about?
Well, with methylene blue, you shouldn't be surprised since you already know the blue peptide spray. Have you tried that one?
Yes, I have it. I love it.
Yeah. So the methylene blue we've been playing around with for years, and it did take a process to develop the anti-stain technology. But methylene blue has a lot of clinical data for skin improvement, and while it's very multifaceted, it really plugs into that improving like repair capacity and improving your cellular energy. It's just really interacts with the electron chain where the ATP is being made, and it's essential for that process in the way it interacts with it. But it's also the best antioxidant on the market, because all the antioxidants, they're sacrificial. So you always like use antioxidants, and you know, they you have like a ceiling to the effect, because you know the antioxidant sacrifices itself to save your skin, in this case, from free radicals. Whereas methylene blue is the only kind that actually is being recycled, and then it can save more free radicals and more your skin from free radicals. So that was always like so unique about it, and it just you know, it's perfect for today's world, because of course when you think about evolutionary, you know, many years ago the skin was bombarded with a lot less. Now there are so many triggers of free radicals, be it pollution, toxins, even the way we eat internally, we trigger them a lot more than it used to be. So the methylene blue, that's that piece. Do you want to talk about creatine a little bit?
So creatine, first of all, something, you know, if you ask like a gym gal 10 years ago, which is the opposite of a gym bro, they would say that they don't want to take creatine because they make it, it swells their face. Creatine makes you hold on to more water.
Yes.
Although this is not, you should take creatine. Okay, it's like
There's
gym
so many
gals.
studies. I mean, the studies
Yes.
are, you can just go chat
And it's again, it's a
about it.
funny thing. It's exactly like we alluded to with peptides. You know, anyone who's been in a gym in the last, you know, 20 years, 25 years, 30 years for sure,
I think the
has,
guys always would take it, because guys
yeah,
always the bulk up, and the girls were like, nope, I'll pass.
yeah, exactly. But creatine improves the ability of your cells, or it kind of induces more water holding on to water in
That
in
makes
cells.
sense. Okay.
It's
So you
very
took it to
important.
the skin. Interesting.
But that's kind of a side quest of creatine. Creatine is extremely important for something that the way that your skin cells use NAD, not the precursors, the way your skin cells use NAD, it basically requires a process of phosphorylation, which requires creatine in order to recycle NAD back to its
Oh.
true form, if you would. Or
Okay.
it's actually with ATP. I'm sorry, not with NAD. So you create ATP, it becomes from triphosphate to become a diphosphate. It becomes ADP, and creatine is essential in adding another phosphate group and it recycling back to ATP, which is the real energy that we've alluded to before that your cells are starving of. So creatine, from that energy life cycle of the cell, this energy economy that we're talking about, that is really what's going on as far as like what you're looking in the mirror and what you're experiencing. It's a really crucial piece, or it's a really beneficial piece.
Yeah.
The one thing that I want to say about creatine is that our challenge. We've always known creatine is a great thing to have in skincare, especially when you're younger. By the way, especially for younger individuals.
Okay.
It's less of the you know, one molecule we care about. Just in older population, post menopause or even perimenopause, there are other molecules that might take its place if we were you know, if we had to choose just a handful of molecules. However, the problem with creatine is stability. Creatine. So if anyone's heard about like the gummy problem that companies claim they have 5 grams of creatine in gummies, and then it's like not 5, it's like 3 or 1. That's
Yes.
not because they didn't want to put 5 grams there. It's because creatine, when it's in liquid, it breaks down to creatinine. And when you're testing that gummy, which started as a liquid, for creatine, you find out that a lot of it is not creatine anymore.
Interesting.
Of course, that in skincare, that of course is even a more pertinent problem because it is still somewhat of a liquid, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So we took us a few years to develop a bilayer together with a company that does it mainly for supplements. In order to create a product that, first of all, is very good at passing the skin membrane, the protective barrier over the skin. But more than that, to make sure that it's stable by the time you're using it, and you're getting any creatine. And even that is limited. We can't put 20% creatine there. We're actually limited right now to 1%, which is pretty high, but still.
And with the new care now, because the old care and the Youth Daily, they were more or less serving the same demographic. It's just the Youth Daily was like all 12 hallmarks of aging, and
Right.
care was more around mitochondrial health. And the new version is, like Amitai alluded to, it's really great for people that are a little bit younger. They're leading up to perimenopause, and that's where you can do this NAD plus banking, so you can
Energy maxing.
Energy maxing, mitochondria maxing. So you can arrive to perimenopause and have a smoother transition. And then, yes, I think personally, I love using the new care in the morning. It really makes sense for me that it's so great at just preventative care. And then I use Youth Daily at night, which is more of a corrective moisturizer. So this is how I combine them. People don't have to have both, but that's how I would recommend to try.
Also, like morning and night, because your body's repairing overnight. Like maybe I like that combination. Actually,
to be honest, also our moisturizers are not very heavy. So people I know many people who now are using both, like one after the other, or mixing them together in their hand and using them together. I know. I can't even tell you how many. I know a lot of people.
All right, well, just put it all on. I get these questions all the time. I wanted to do something fun that's a little playful, called like myth or must, because I get these questions all the time, and I feel like I love to like hear your answers. Salmon sperm facials, myth or must?
Myth.
Yeah.
Okay, here
you guys can have different answers.
You'll take the next one.
Let me quote Lev, our son.
Let's hear why, because this is important, because I think people don't realize this. I like that you said
I mean, salmon sperm facial, which is basically PDRN, sometimes people might get like a glow effect and they'll be like, oh, it actually really works. But what a lot of people don't know that, hey, it's sourced from farm-raised salmon, which is like one of the dirtiest fish on the planet. Do you really want that building blocks then in your skin? Like, if we're trying to optimize everything, why would you? And then also, like, I have seen videos of people after these facials where the skin was rejecting it and they were getting nodules under their skin. Like, I don't think it's really. Yeah,
but why do you get that glow? Like, people do get a gorgeous glow. Like, I had a friend who just had it done and she looked gorgeous. But I obviously, for those reasons that you just mentioned, I was like,
do you know where glow comes from?
No.
Glow is a function mostly of mitochondrial function. Glow, mitochondria. Autofluorescence, yeah. Mitochondria creates
yeah, you're right. That makes sense. Like the light.
Infrared.
Okay.
Mitochondria creates infrared as part of its energy creation process, and we can see some of that infrared, and that is what we attribute glow, or that's how our brain registers that as glow.
I mean, again, sometimes it might work for some people. I just personally, I wouldn't put farm-raised salmon.
I don't need it.
Skin for the glow. I'll get the glow with my skincare, and I'm good. And I don't want to have the risk of infection, nodules under my skin. So I say myth, because it's definitely not a must. And this is the question: myth or must?
Use spermidine. Use spermidine. It's better, and it does the same thing.
What about exosomes? Myth or must?
Myth. Myth.
We
sell exosomes, and I'm telling you myth, because exosomes are not a real thing. Exosomes is an envelope. You could have, an envelope can come in the mail. You can have a winning lottery ticket. I've never done lottery. Do you get an envelope? I don't know. Either
No.
a winning lottery ticket or a subpoena to come to court. It's the same envelope. Senescent cells, zombie cells, communicate with other cells, infect other cells partially through exosomes. It is what's inside the exosomes, what state they're coming to you in, that is, where are they from, things like that. That is the real questions that need to be asked. And because we are not living in a vacuum, right? We don't have the only exosome product out there. And again, as we said a million times, we don't want to play in an area where we're the only ones that are doing anything, really. It's myth until a company can come, and that's what we do. Every batch we test, we show you what's inside the exosome. How many you have there. As long as a company does that, of course, it's a must. If a company doesn't do that, post-formulation, by the way, not raw material.
Yeah, suppose that's a big deal because a lot of these placenta cells, just so people can understand, they can be placenta, which is obviously newborn. And then if they're going to do a post test, sometimes they could literally be 90 years old. So I love that you guys back it up with your certifications.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. So
okay.
That's
what
it. That's
about
what I mean.
beef tallow, myth or must?
Must is a cooking ingredient.
Must to cook with.
I've said it before. I'm not a fan of a grease oil on my skin. I think it's very cloggy for the pores. But some people might enjoy it as an occlusive. They use wonderful skincare and then they put it as an extra layer for occlusive purposes.
Okay.
And that might work for them. And it's definitely not a must. Beef tallow is not a must in my books by any stretch of the imagination. And then we talked a lot about stability. And this is also worth mentioning here. Beef tallow gets oxidized very easily. And most beef tallow formulations that I see, they're coming in jars. You're supposed to dip your fingers, do it all over again. It does not sound to me like a stable product that I want on my skin. So,
I think as far as the FDA is concerned, I think beef tallow should be labeled like the expiration date is 6 months.
Yeah,
as
I
far
like
as
that.
I
Right, 'cause
understand
it's
by
like very
the FDA.
fresh. And then one more, castor oil, myth or must?
I don't know if it's a must, but it's cool. It's good.
I mean, castor oil can be of great resource at home. You can put it on your belly button for detoxifying. You can put it on your eyelashes for growing. Like, there's a lot of
good for lips. Good for lips.
Yeah, there's a lot of uses to it. I think it's a longevity molecule, biohacking molecule, something that is, like the best out there. No, but it's a safe molecule. That's how I look at it.
That. Better than a beef tallow, it sounds like to me. And
They
because
don't play the same. They don't play the same game. Castor oil is not an occlusive whatsoever. It will dry your skin, technically speaking. So
really?
Yeah.
Interesting. I never thought of it that way. I feel like it's like very hydrating to the skin.
Not the type concentrations. I mean, if you had castor oil as the base of the product, you would lose a lot of moisture.
Right, not as a part. I don't mean part of a product.
In general, because that's again like a natural kind of skincare vertical.
Yeah.
Oils are not great as occlusives. Oils are not great at preventing. I'm going to say it in other words. You have a skin barrier that's based on lipids, on oils, on cholesterol. Yeah, exactly. To prevent water leaving your skin and getting absorbed through kind of osmosis type to the environment.
Yeah.
So a lot of most oils are actually going to offset that balance and make it so that barrier, because they fuse to that barrier, is now less effective at preventing that, right?
Huh, I like that. You're teaching
It's called
me something.
transepidermal water loss. It's now less effective at creating it. The oils that we're making are better than, right? Even ceramides that are the darlings of body creams right now, they're really they don't like being in a product per se. So pure ceramides, a lot of the times, by the time they get to your skin, they actually will do not the opposite, but they're not going to be great at
Yeah.
enriching the skin. It's a different podcast. The stability of ceramide.
That's
Yeah,
for the next podcast, Sarah,
yeah.
my deep dive. Actually, our next one will probably be on like body lotion. I think will be a good one. What because you guys are biohackers, what is your favorite at-home tech to pair with your products?
I think red light therapy. It's pretty easy. I think it's the most impactful. Speaking of tech and specifically for skin health, and we make a ladder serum, which is activated by the red light. And for all of the customers that we've received feedback that had like a lot of the people that buy it already have the red light therapy, so
Yeah.
they know what red light therapy alone can do to their skin and the impact of that. And then when they pair it with ladder, they're like, whoa, I had
Wow.
no idea that I can do shorter sessions less frequently. I don't have to do it daily. I can do it 2-3 times a week, and I will see so much change in my skin. So I think tech wise, that's my number one.
That would be number one for me, especially when we talk about like value for money. But if I had to like choose another one, it would be hydrogen inhalation.
Mm.
So we have a product called Inhale. I'm not sure exactly how the company is called. I think it's called Inhale, and the H has like a little 2 next to it because it's hydrogen.
Yeah.
And it is tremendous. And by the way, not necessarily as an antioxidant, but as a hormetic stress to the mitochondria. It improves mitochondrial function.
Yeah, if you want to deep dive on hydrogen and how that could improve your skin health, we also have a podcast called Biohacking Beauty Podcast, and we had the founder of this company, Alex, talk about it for an hour, so you can
Yeah.
really learn about
Okay, yeah,
hydrogen.
deep dive. I get questions all the time. Go head to them. Where can we find Young Goose? Except for we also can find them on thewelldrop.com. Where can
Yeah.
people go check out your amazing product line?
So you can, of course, find it on the website, younggoose.com. I think the best place to learn more about formulation, just the mindset, would be listening to our podcast. Again, Biohacking Beauty Podcast, because I think since there is so much science and innovation that's poured into the product, it's really hard to just understand everything from looking at the website alone. And then if you don't have that much time and you want another format of interaction, I think our Instagram is also a pretty good place for our community. We try to post. We have like mitochondrial series that we post weekly, like improving your mitochondrial literacy, and of course skincare routines and ingredient deep dives in a more shorter format than a podcast would be. And that's young_goose_skincare. That's our Instagram handle.
Tell them about my Substack.
Oh, yes. And
Okay.
Amitai has like 18,000 followers on
We have
Substack.
25, almost 26, but
Look
who's
at you
counting?
growing. Look at you growing. It's a big
Yeah.
deal.
Who's
For
counting?
sure. Yeah. So if you also want to read articles, please follow our Substack. Amitai's Substack. What is it?
Amitai Eshel.
Amitai
And
Eshel on
if you
Substack.
if you just can't stand the accent anymore, but you want the words, Substack is the way to go.
Yeah.
Very smart. I will say, I think that once you educate yourself, and if you are curious, and for those who are listening, like it also helps to improve the ritual. Like as you put the products on, you know exactly what you're doing and caring for your skin. So you're actually like
Yeah.
connecting to your skincare in a completely different way, in a deeper way than probably ever before. So I definitely highly recommend. I always love to close out my conversations by asking, I'll ask each of you, what is one drop of wellness wisdom you like to leave with our listeners today?
Community.
Okay. Yeah. Community. We'll have the same drop, I guess. Yes. I mean, I mentioned that community can also help you differentiate the brand when you were asking, like, how can consumers be smarter? And I think real, true brands that are not hype-based, they form community, because community stays when there is care, when there is results, when there is nurturing, when there is more value than just, hey, here's the product, figure it out, and I think, yeah. And then, of course, community is the number one longevity hack, when we look
Yes.
at blue zones and all the research coming out from there. So we are very grateful for Young Goose community. It feels like one big family. We have been supported and uplifted through so many challenges by the community. Everything we do is with community in mind, centered around. So yeah, we wouldn't be where
And
we
of
are
course,
today without
you
community. And you are part of
yeah,
community for
I was gonna
sure.
say you're part of my community, so it's
Yeah.
all
exactly.
circle.
Yeah.
And yeah, I
That's
think
the
we
beautiful
all
thing about communities. They merge, right? They
Mhm.
and help lift each other up. And it's all about
yeah.
sharing the same message. And it's about whoever the messenger is that the person finds, right? We're all just trying to help elevate everyone's
Yeah.
Yeah.
wellness. Um,
Yeah.
so thank you so much for being on the Well Drop, guys. I'm so honored. And thank you for
Mm.
being a part of the Well Drop Network. You can find them on thewelldrop.com or direct on their website. We will have links in the show notes, and we will see you later.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.